Okay, so normally I don't do this, but in case you don't know, the full-on spoilers for the upcoming chapter of Boruto 2 Blue Vortex have been released, shall I say, leaked out. There's chapter 36 spoilers, and I'm gonna be honest right now, one of the main reasons why I wanted to do this is because, well, one, next month, no Boruto chapter. Boruto takes a break. It will resume in September. So breaking news, Boruto 2 Blue Vortex manga is going on break starting next month. Very, very big deal because normally Boruto doesn't take breaks. It's been a long time since it's taken a break like this, but yeah, it's going on break. But more importantly than that, these are some of the most game-changing spoilers yet again, and it seems as though with the defeat of some of the previous Shinju trees, you know, these divine tree creatures or whatnot, the manga, the story itself is starting to get insanely crazy, and things is really getting where to begin. So we're gonna go through these spoilers. Drop a like so you can support. If you want to see me do this more often in the future, especially for more exciting chapters like this, definitely let me know. And of course, support the manga when it comes out, because we gotta experience this thing when it fully, you know what I'm saying, we get the full-on chapter, which will be released on the Shonen Jump app. It's for free. The latest chapters, you can read the latest, I think, 3 chapters. So yeah, just want to throw all of that before we get into this. But oh my gosh, let's get started, shall we? And before we continue, make sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you get more updates in the world of anime and manga like this one. First things first, the title of the chapter is A Parent's Heart. So this is essentially, and the cover is of Amado, so automatically already getting you to think like, okay, where are we going with this? Is it about his daughter? What's happening here? Let's continue. The very first page. Shortly after Amado asks Kawaki to kidnap Koji, Kawaki wonders if this will get in the way of defeating all the Shinju. So it's starting off with a little bit of a flashback prior to, you know, the end of last month's events. Then page number 2, Amado tells him not to worry because everything he's doing is for the sake of his daughter. He wants the Shinju to be defeated as quickly as possible, but he's got something personal to talk about with Koji. Kawaki agrees pretty quickly because he doesn't care to talk about any in-depth reasons. As long as it doesn't get in the way of his goal, he'll do it. And automatically I'm there like, yo, no, come on, they're not gonna allow Kawaki to ask some questions, something like that. Like, Kawaki, yeah, he could get a little bit hot-headed, and of course he's very, you know, centered on his goals of protecting the Hokage and, you know, getting rid of the Shinju and all that stuff. But when they play the character up like that, where they have him like, come on, dog, ask a question or two or something, you know? Amado asks if Boruto is currently in Konoha. Kawaki says he is, but he's got his chakra signal turned off. All he can feel is his Otsutsuki presence. Amado says now it's their chance to move while Boruto isn't with Koji, and before 10 Paths gets another update. So basically, despite the fact that Boruto can turn off, like, you know, basically you're not able to see exactly where he's at. You're not able to get a good reading on where he's maneuvering in the Hidden Leaf. Ultimately, his presence is so strong. He's gotten so much to be, you know, that dude, so to speak, that you know he's somewhere around there because of course, the Otsutsuki powers that reside within him as well. And Amado says now is their chance to move. Again, this is all prior to those events of what happened where, you know, they got Koji, which I'm still like, yo, dog, oh my gosh. And just to note as well, it's interesting of him saying before the 10 Paths gets an update. So he's very much so centered on that power. If we're doing this, it's gotta be now. So quite a few pages on giving us again what happened prior to the whole Koji thing, and you know how they got Koji or whatnot. And honestly, they're both a little bit, if you think about it, hot-headed. They're kind of reflecting from one another. Of Kawaki ain't really asking questions, and Amado's like, yo, we gotta do this now, let's do this now. Kobu is confused. Kobu's the dude that was, you know, all upset with the whole Shikamaru situation, of thinking that Shikamaru is in contact with Boruto, and he was kind of getting close to the truth, but at the same time still like, you know, because of the whole situation, everything's been reversed and everybody looks at Kawaki as he's the good guy and Boruto's the bad guy. So Kobu really much so, no matter what, is still going to look at Boruto as bad and anybody that helps him. But Kobu was confused because he came to on the rooftop of the Hokage's office when he'd previously been in the interrogation room with the Hokage. He has no memory of leaving the room or even standing up from his chair. He explains to the elders that when he came to, he was surrounded by Shinju. He panicked, thinking he'd die for sure. And yeah, this dude is on a warpath really to get at Shikamaru. Honestly, I don't know if dude thinks that like he's gonna become the Hokage all of a sudden for snitching or something. I don't know what's going on over here, but this is a little bit madness. And this dude, I'm not mad at Koji trying to say, yo, whatever happens to him happens to him. And then he appeared, the Hokage killing traitor Boruto. Sai explains that Boruto wiped out all 6 attacking Shinju in an instant. So you immediately see that there's somebody there at the very least. Sai is holding it down for Boruto, not completely letting the narrative stray that, you know, Kobu have his way entirely with this conversation with the elders. Like, he's like, yo, but he did get rid of those 6, you know, invading creatures. Koharu Utatane, one of the, you know, elders, asked if Boruto really came to Kobu's aid. Kobu says that's how it may have seemed, but his hypothesis is different. He thinks it was all a farce. He doesn't believe Boruto would have stopped by just to save him. It's too convenient of a story. He thinks he was duped. And honestly, that's just a bad faith argument. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is all really political. This is all politics at the end of the day, if you really pay close attention. Like, right now what he's saying, like, yo, wait, Boruto saved me, but no, it couldn't be that. What actually happened was, like, bro, he saved you. What the hell are you talking about? Honestly, it's just straight hating. Sai asks what he means by duped. Kobu tells Sai he thinks Shikamaru is working with Boruto and others are in league with him as well. Either way, he thinks they cooperated to stop the interrogation. He doesn't know why Shikamaru will work with Boruto, but the timing of the interruption and attack seemed planned, and it only furthers his hunch that they're working together. Again, he's somewhat correct, but his whole faith is against the idea that Boruto is even good to begin with. So he's basically trying to paint the narrative as Boruto's this bad guy and they're all working with the bad guy, which gives you a really good lesson on how words and their impact and the way you even maneuver, not just utilizing the words, but how you use them, how you say them, the way you make use of these words can massively change things. Because it's basically him saying, yeah, he saved me, but he's bad, so everybody that helped him and whatnot, it's still all bad. That's like if Superman came right now and saved somebody and they're like, yeah, but he only did it because he wanted to flex. And like what? Utatani thinks that it's becoming increasingly likely that Boruto is in communication with the Shinju. That again is just a random theory. Homura says that looking at things that way is only natural. He also thinks it's probable that Boruto may have even lured the Shinju into Konoha. Kobu thinks that could be the case as well, but either way, it's obvious Boruto and Shikamaru are working together. Sai tries to stop them, saying they're taking their theorizing too far, and that is kind of facts. Like, because again, they're on the right path, but with malice and bad faith. Like, yeah, they're all working together because Boruto's actually not as bad or not bad at all. Like, but I get it. The whole hypnosis thing from Ada, I get it. Are they really trying to say that the Hokage himself has taken action to rebel against the village? Kobu says, well, to put it bluntly, yes. Honestly, Kobu is like, yo, dog, when this chapter comes out, we gotta give this dude, like, hater of the century. Like, bro is like, what's going on with haters nowadays? Yo, dog, like, I've been talking about haters lately. Now we got haters. Like, what's happening here? What's with these haters, bro? Stop the hate or stop hating on people. Like, yo, that's... Kobu thinks it's a logical enough conclusion, and that the traitor who let Boruto escape was indeed none other than Nara Shikamaru. There should be some sort of concrete proof, and he fully intends to find it. Assisting a traitor is a serious crime. Of course, there are others as well, but they need to have the man at the top take responsibility first. He already sent the report to the daimyo. It's only a matter of time until he grants his approval. Sai responds with, approval? Like, approval for what? So basically, he's taking this issue to the higher ups, so to speak. The approval is for Shikamaru's dismissal. The approval to forcibly dismiss the Hokage is only able to be granted by the daimyo as soon as Kobu finds proof of Shikamaru's misdeeds with the elders' consent. So basically, he's gonna try and say like, yo, dog, nah, he's actually really bad, and he's sending word up to get Shikamaru removed as Hokage. Basically, the one dude that is holding down the village and one dude that Naruto trusted with all his might, they're gonna say that he's randomly betraying the village. Like, where's the, you know what I'm saying? But then again, the elders, they've always been a little, you know what I'm saying, a little something there, even back in the olden days, even against Hiruzen, you know, the original, the older Hokage from back in the days. Like, they've always been this way. I don't get it. His dismissal will be finalized. The sensory team reports in to Shikamaru. So now is to a scene with Shikamaru. There's something strange that came up in the logs of people entering and exiting the village. A few minutes ago, it seems as though someone matching Jiraiya's chakra signal entered the village. So essentially, you know, they're reporting that Koji has, you been brought in. Shikamaru internally recognizes his matching person as Kashin Koji. The sensory ninja also relates him back to Kara and warns of a potential for an enemy invasion. Shikamaru opts to keep the information classified and asks where he is currently. And then we go to a scene where Koji wakes up. He's essentially restrained in jutsu ceiling handcuffs, so he can't pull any moves. Now he's unable to control his frogs. Amado compliments him on surviving his fight with Ishiki. So mind you, this is now, we're delving into conversations from way back then, because the battle with Ishiki Otsutsuki, who was originally supposed to be the main villain, was a very long time ago. So to have commentary on this all these years later, it's quite fascinating. Honestly, I feel like we've entered a time portal or something. Like, we're talking about the Ishiki Otsutsuki fight and he's giving commentary on it all these years later. Like, what the heck? Amado says, long time no see, Koji. It'd be nice if you're not holding too much of a grudge against me. In case you don't remember, Amado left him kind of, to fry in the battle of Ishiki and didn't expect for him to survive. Koji says that on top of being prepared to fulfill that mission, he understood the circumstances going into it. There's no need for him to hold any grudges against Amado. I like that. He's not holding any resentment. That's a good dude right there. Amado replies with, it's a surprise he's alive, but to get to the bottom of things, he's curious about this Shinjutsu 10 paths. Amado says, the power to see all occurring futures, irregular, compulsory occurring updates, seeing new visions of the future. I understand that that's what 10 paths is. Your last update was 4 days ago, a little before the Mamushi battle. I became aware of your power for the first time through this fight and decided on this course of action. In other words, this is a change of the future, a development that you didn't see in your update 4 days ago. That right there gotta raise a question. How was he able to do that? Like, how was he able to know that there wasn't an update for 4 days? How was he able to essentially defy what the future was going to be in this way? You know what I'm saying? Like, this guy, which for the most part, starting really to understand who this guy is. I'm not gonna get into this video on my theory on who he is, but I'm like 1000% sure I know exactly who this guy is. Amado says 10 Path's greatest weakness is the blind spots in his predictions, thinking that it's over and that all went well. You wallowed too much in the confidence in your ability, Kashin Koji. You're still too naive. Koji says, to think you'd be so bold, Amado. What are you planning? Amado says you can find this out from Ada's archive anyway, so I'll be honest. I made a few adjustments to your brainwaves. Basically, Ada could have told him what happened anyways, so he's might as well just say the truth because Ada can see everything all the time. Page 18. Koji says, what? Amado says, don't hate me too much. I apologize for being a bit rough with you, but listen here. I'm not your enemy. I restrained you just to be safe, but I really do just want to talk with you calmly. Amado says, the problem is the interval in between updates. If I can shorten that a little, you'll be able to get more accurate information faster, and it'll be easier to stay out of danger. That's what I was thinking. I'm the parent who created you, after all. Chalk it up to me having a parent's heart. So, mind you, Amado, still, his motives outside of him saying about his daughter, that we really still don't know exactly what all this dude is, getting at here, so to speak, right? But him saying chalk it up to a parent's heart because essentially he's the one that created Kashin Koji. Man, this Amado dude, bro, like, you don't know if you want to just admire his scientific greatness and his ability to do all this stuff, or at the same time be like, but is he, is it really just all about his daughter and doing what he feels is right for his daughter? Page 20, Koji says, so you can make the interval between updates shorter? Amado says, I think so. It was an ultrasound based procedure. You have no external injuries, so don't worry too much. In other words, your brain has simply become more active than before. I'm just trying to reassure you, really, but in my own way. I wanted to do what I could to help you. Koji, take a look at that. So basically, the updates are about to start coming in faster is what is being gathered from this information. So those updates from the future ain't gonna have those buffers, so to speak, anymore. I mean, it's not gonna be like constant updates or whatnot, because that wouldn't make sense, but ultimately we're gonna be getting updates faster and no more of those like, oh man, it's been a crazy long time since we got an update, what's going on. He basically made him honestly be able to think faster, essentially be able to have his brain more stronger. He's gotten him smarter, and the utilization of this ability is maxed up. And Amado points to, it's a clone of my daughter Akebi, basically, his whole daughter situation of how he wants to revive his daughter into this whole thing. Amado says, Kawaki's karma contains her memories and genetic information. If Kawaki carves his karma into that, it should completely revive my daughter using the same method as the Otsutsuki's reincarnation. Tell me, Koji, have you seen a future where Kawaki carved his karma onto my daughter? And Koji says, to be honest with you, I haven't even seen it once. Woo! It's getting real heavy in here. So basically, Koji is telling him right now that his ultimate goal of having his daughter be brought back and having this whole scenario with his daughter, Koji's saying like, yo, in all the quadrillion futures I've seen, Kawaki never actually completed that goal of doing that for his daughter. Yo, in the next page, he would imagine Hamado's just gonna start breaking stuff and going nuts. I don't think he's gonna do that, but you gotta imagine, like, as a special ability that comes with 10 paths, I have all the futures I've seen stored in my brain. That's why I can declare that with certainty. There has never been a single future where that has ever come to pass. Jura is in every future, and he almost always kills Kawaki. So every time Kawaki was actually going to do this, in every future he's seen, every future, Kawaki basically isn't able to deliver on the promise because Kawaki is always defeated by Jura in that whole battle. Bro, I feel like I'm at a campfire right now hearing this story. Like, yo, dog, like, what's going on here? Amado says, thank you. I see. I'm glad I was able to hear it from you directly. So he kind of assumed it, is basically what you could gather from that, but to actually hear it from, you know, the dude that can actually see all this stuff regardless, it basically confirms something that he was believing. I'm looking forward to the next update, to what future our current reality has created, because you got to remember, when you do things to interrupt the when basically the future is told, then all of a sudden, or if you meddle with the future for that matter, the way he did, essentially the future now changes and a new future gets added. So it's almost as if Amado stepped in because he already started to think like, yeah, this isn't going to happen. I need to change something to see if I could, you know, do a roll of the dice, so to speak, to make things actually occur where, you know, he wants his daughter to get the karma or whatnot. Damn it, Amado, that bastard, changing the password up on me again, Shikamaru says. Basically, Shikamaru trying to enter the lab. Boruto appears in the hideout, but Koji is missing. Mind you, a couple pages back, Amado already released the shackles on Koji, so Koji is free already. So honestly, it was really hype in the last chapter where we thought like, wait a minute, so no more Koji to help Boruto, but it doesn't seem like Amado was trying to like really rid him from anything. It just seemed like he genuinely wanted to help. Boruto wants to make sure everything is okay with Koji. Koji tells him, basically Koji popped up into the hideout, so Amado let him go free. Koji tells him he'll explain things later and attempts to get Inojin's attention. Inojin is startled, but replies. Koji says, Ada, it's me, Koji. Can Shikamaru hear as well? Shikamaru says, yeah, I'm listening. What on earth happened? What was Amado's motive? Koji says, I'll explain now. Ada, I want you to look at what Amado did to me about an hour ago. Basically, exactly the way even Amado said things would go. Like, dude could see the future himself. It's very clear. Like, we don't know to what extent. It's almost as if the way things are looking, everybody is just like little test subjects in Amado's experiment of trying to get that future where his daughter is revived, and it's like he can't necessarily get into the battlefield and do the things Koji does, so he had to upgrade one of his pieces to be able to maneuver to see if he could get things done the way he needs to do it. So again, maybe Amado is able to see the future and he's like, you know, it's not gonna happen, so let me step in. Ada says, hey, would it kill you to be a little less pushy? I'm getting annoyed. Yeah, a lot of us are annoyed after what you did. Like, you know, I'm just saying, Ada. Koji says, Ada, this is important, something only you can. And then, bam, he starts getting an update of the future. Boruto says, Koji. Shikamaru says, hey, what's wrong? Boruto says, damn it, it's his update. Then we cut to like, yo, right when it gets interesting, Sarada's flashback thoughts, basically after the conversation that she had with Boruto. So they decided to add in quite a bit of flashbacks to get people up to speed on what's happening and whatnot. She says, Code is targeting me when she was talking to Boruto. Boruto says, Sarada, actually, I want you to let him capture you during our battle against Mamushi. Code quietly left claw marks all over the village. He can appear anytime he wants. He'll likely take you straight to their base, but don't worry, using those symbols I gave you, I'll fly right to you. So basically, again, the whole thing of he wanted to utilize Sarada as a scapegoat to lure them so that he could probably finish this whole battle. Page 33, Sarada's thoughts. It'd be easier for him to appear in a place where there aren't many people, right? Then it comes back to Koji has another update. This right here is big, people. Get ready. There's flashes of Sumide, claw grimes, Boruto activating karma, taking a hit, Sarada's encounter with Code, face pressed into claw marks. So in this update that he's getting, things is getting real. Boruto's right eye. Sarada using her Mangekyo, Hidori reaching towards her, Jura cooking soup. Okay, before we get to the funny part of Jura cooking soup, Hidori reaching towards her, I immediately think of Itachi reaching towards Sasuke, the whole eye situation. Like, come on. It seems predictable, but it just seems like it's going that way. Sarada gets her upgrade to her eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, her ultimate eye power via Hidori. Like, that's what I get as soon as I hear that. Jura cooking soup. All right, I guess, you know, Superman in a loop again. Hey, Boruto's right eye, some tree roots, and Kawaki's right eye, and Jura's foot. Are they gonna get updates too? Are they gonna get, and what I mean updates, are they gonna get upgrades on their powers? Is Boruto finally gonna unlock that eye power that he had way back when they first, you know, foreshadow things? Like, are we going into, what was it, the Tensei? I forget what it was, the Jigan? It seems like Code did something with his mechanical hand to draw the symbols away from Sarada before he kidnapped her, and now she's being pressed into the ground. So basically Boruto can't teleport to her if those symbols aren't with her. So Code was actually a little bit strategic this time. Good. They wrote Code in a very competent way. Good. More flashes of updates. We have a Land of Fire hat. Land of Fire hat, isn't that basically like a Hokage hat, right? It could be the daimyo. It could be that the daimyo show up. Could be a previous Hokage. If you watch the shorts, I was talking about Kakashi recently. I don't know. Maybe that's what Koba wants Kakashi to take over. I don't know. Is Boruto about to bring Kakashi back into the manga? That's just a crazy theory. It's just a hat, but Kobu smirking, the corner of the Hokage's cloak. The Hokage's cloak. Again, could be Shikamaru's cloak while whatever's happening, but Konohamaru looking tense. Jura cooking alongside Shikamaru with a tasting dish. Oh my god. What is going on here? Moegi also looking concerned. Hidori again reaching towards Sarada, and she reaches forward. She's getting those eyes. He's probably, that might not even be a big battle. Honestly, we might be reaching the end of these tree people with Jura being the last left. He might be wanting to give her the eyes. More tree roots. Some random leaf jonin, Himawari, Karma, Kawaki, Boruto's horn, Sarada's belt buckle, and Borushiki with a full horn. Borushiki, oh my gosh, it is about to get insane. Do you guys understand what is about to happen? When Momoshiki takes over Boruto's body, all of that good kindness, beautiful thing that Boruto can be goes out the window and he becomes an absolute monster, okay? This is about to, if this future is the future we're walking towards, you gotta keep in mind, we haven't seen the true full-blown Momoshiki Boruto in some time, let alone Boruto is really strong right now. Like, he's really strong right now. Can we even afford for Momoshiki and Boruto's body the way he is right now to be able to show up? Because the whole Shinobi world will be rattled if Borushiki returns. Like, I don't think people are understanding what this could mean. Like, Borushiki Boruto is probably enough to wipe out Jura. Like, just being honest. Like, that's the power probably needed to wipe out. So essentially, Borushiki Boruto might be the strongest shinobi in the entire shinobi world as of right now. Obviously, Naruto and Sasuke are away, so you can't include them, although some people will say, hey, he surpassed them, even though he doesn't have the experience, so you can't really say that. But this is a scary situation, people. Koji says, Boruto, listen up, calm down, and listen to what I have to say. The decoy plan with Sarada is going to fail. So he's already telling him, like, yo, that plan of luring, that's not gonna work. Code says, I see. So we're back to the Code and Sarada situation. I was wondering why you were giving off hints of Boruto's chakra. The cause is this, is it? These are what he uses to teleport. You plan to let him infiltrate the Shinju hideout with these, did you? Why does he care? Like, don't you hate the Shinju? Why do you care? Sarada says, damn it, this is bad. Code says, unfortunately for you, you're too late. Koji says, wait, Boruto, don't go, you're... And what was he about to tell him? Like, he needs to... Because I forgot, like, has Boruto healed up from the last battle? Is he still exhausted? Like, why would he tell him? Or is it because he's worried about the Borushiki situation? Although, it won't take Borushiki to take out Code. Although, if, again, I want to say one more time, if he goes Borushiki mode, it could be catastrophic. And also, Sarada could possibly be in the process. You know what I'm saying? Koji says, damn it, that idiot. Boruto appears and says Sarada, but he's only at like some claw grind marks, so Sarada is gone. In the side text, contact with Amado, a new update, the failure of the plan, a huge spiral that makes a whirlpool out of fate. Next chapter coming 9/18. No chapter next month. No! Honestly, this is going to be the craziest chapter of Boruto that we ever had. Again, when the full chapter officially releases, we will talk about it some more because we got to actually experience this to really understand the magnification of what's about to transpire. But let me know what you guys think. What is your whole take on this situation? Like, Borushiki returning, the new updates coming quicker. There's so much to process on this one. Again, your world thoughts and expectations. But that's all I have for this one. I'm Tim. As always, people, have an awesome day. Peace in, and look forward to when we talk about this thing after we experience the full-on chapter.